Okay, so hi Sari, thanks for coming today. I am, as you know, I'm Sandra Manrique, the person who contacted you recently. So I contact you because to discuss your religion or cultural information about your country. So do you feel okay to interview?
Yes, I feel okay.
How is the space? It is comfortable for you?
Yes, because I know you and you're my sister, so it makes me comfortable.
All right. So I just wanted to tell you about something important to the interview. So the interview is gonna like long up around like 20 to 30 minutes. So it's okay for you.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So feel free to start me whatever you feel uncomfortable, or do you want to add something for the interview, or of do you want to express something that probably you don't want people to know about your religion or your cultural interests. So I'm going to start with a few questions, and you're going to tell me everything that you want me to know.
Okay.
Okay. So there is anything before to start that that you want me to know?
Actually, there's no, so you can just start.
Yes, sir. Okay. All right. So the first question that I have is, what do you think is the most fundamental aspects of your religion or culture?
I feel like the most fundamental aspects of my religion is that we're all very close together, and I feel like that's what brings a family in together. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And what is your religion? Do you have a
Well,
specific one?
actually, my religion is being a Catholic, so that's my religion. I only believe in one, so I don't have different beliefs.
All
That's
right.
just one.
All right. So, as you mentioned, you have just one belief. Do you believe in another religions, or do you respect, or do you find something uncomfortable about it?
I feel like I don't believe in any other religion. I respect any other religion. I feel like if you believe in other religion, I respect it because everybody has different beliefs. But I do believe in only my religion. So,
Okay. So, what are some of your religion tradition rituals that you most like about it?
well, some of the things I like is that we actually pray before every meal. Like it can be in dinner time or when you're eating or even breakfast. Some I feel like that's every it depends on the family. So because not everybody does it, so it all depends on the family. But I feel like it should be a tradition more often that people will have. And other traditions are when they gather together at Christmas or Christmas Eve, or they celebrate the 12 for the region de Guadalupe or things like that. So there's a lot of different traditions. I won't be able to mention all of them because there's a lot, but those are some of the religions, the traditions.
All right. Do you want to talk about one specific religion to discuss more about it, to focus more about that tradition, probably,
You mean a tradition or like
or religious, whatever
we
you
can
feel?
talk about my religions is a more topic I know more about because if we talk another one I really don't know.
All right. So I know that the most important tradition that Mexican culture has is the Virgin of Guadalupe.
Mhm.
So how do you guys celebrate?
We actually celebrate on the 12th of December and we just gather together. It's like the birth of the mother, you know what I mean? So we start the December 11th from maybe 10 p.m. Then they start singing like Las Mañanitas, which is kind of like happy birthday. So they start singing, they start making their prayers, being thankful for what you gave, what she gave you, and then that becomes all the way into like 12 a.m. in the morning into the next day, and then people just keep coming in. If you want to stay there until like actually 12, you can stay there. But if not, you don't have to. You can just go the other day, like the actual day, which is the 12th. And then later on at 6 p.m., around 6 or 7, I'm not sure, then we have a mass, which we celebrate, we also sing, and then a lot of people come. So we kind of make a parade with trucks and people singing and people dancing because it's kind of like a celebration to our mother. So there's a lot of good things. Sometimes they make food, sometimes not, because when it's in December, so it's kind of cold those days. So it's kind of like the snow and things like that. It all depends.
Okay, and I know they also do like fireworks.
Yeah, they actually do fireworks, but I don't feel like they do it in here because we're in America. They mostly do it in Mexico because they take a lot of time doing all those fireworks things and then those mechanic things that they work. So, but that's actually pretty cool because it takes place on Mexico and it's mostly at 12 or in the night where you can actually appreciate all the fireworks, which is really nice. It looks cool.
It sounds good. So very interesting. And so, do you have anything that you want to add for this or?
Well, actually, I do remember one last thing. Those little kids, like from 3 years to like, I think it's like six, they kind of dressed up like inditos. So that's kind of like people who help the Virgin of Guadalupe when she was going through all those things. And so that's really cool because you can get to actually get dressed and everything. And it's actually a beautiful experience from the food to the fireworks to everything.
All right, and in order to continue with that, what do you want others to know about your religion, about that special occasion?
Well, I want others to know. I feel like we all believe in the Virgin of Guadalupe because I feel like some people here in America are also Catholic. So I actually wanted to tell them or let them know that they can actually join because we are all celebrating for the same reason. We just celebrate a little different, you know? Because some people, I don't know, in here, they can celebrate different with just a mass. But for us as Mexicans or Latinos or Hispanics, we get to celebrate with music and food and parades and fireworks. So it's really nothing bad. You can just join because it's really cool. We all celebrate for the same thing. So
All right, and what do you think is the most unique aspect of your religion, like the thing that it represents you as a Mexican, Latino, or Hispanic?
I feel like the most unique is the way we sing because we everybody has different uh, type of singing because we kind of are always more not more happy. I don't mean by happy. I mean we always have like a mariachi or we always have something, you know, like instruments. And I feel like I've seen it like other people like Americans kind of like sing opera and more kind of like relaxed. I feel like, and that's I feel like that's one unique thing about us that we kind of go crazy.
Yeah, I mean, as your sisters, I like Mexican culture. I think it's very fascinating to be with all this immigrant community and also get a lot of, for example, Honduras, Guatemala people that also join in that Mexican culture. And for me, it's really unique
Yeah,
to they continue ex- or get into it or
like
get involved
experience. Yeah.
to that culture. Okay, all right. There is what are some symbols of your religion that you want to tell me about? What is the most unique symbol to represent your religion?
Well, I feel like there's two symbols that represent my religion, which is like the Holy Cross, which I don't have in me right now, but there's also the Virgin of Guadalupe, which I have here, because I feel like those are the two biggest symbols in our Catholic beliefs. Does you see a lot of women or Hispanics wear these, the Virgin of Guadalupe, and you kind of see men wearing the cross because they kind of believe, or that's the way we were raised. Men have the cross, and then women have the Virgin of Guadalupe. So I feel like those are the two symbols.
Right, that's very unique. So moving to other topic, I want to ask you, how does your faith or your religion handle the social issues such as intermarriage, teen pregnancy, divorce, or probably premarital sex?
I feel like Divorce is a, a pretty important thing in our culture because I feel like, well, Hispanic at a young age get married, I feel like early. So you have to be married because if you're not married, then they say you live under the blessing of God. So you're not blessed and your family will not be blessed. So you have to get married. So I feel like that's one thing that they kind of manage differently because I feel like, I don't know, in here everybody has the right to get married or if they don't want to get married, but I feel like our culture or our religion kind of believes that you have to get married in order to get God's blessing for the rest of your life and your family. And I feel like pregnancy is also one important thing because there's no, I know I don't want to get into like abortion or I'm like against or within, but I feel like that's kind of one thing that they see kind of like they help it, but they kind of against with it, you know. There, so
Yeah.
it's kind of like both
It's
ways.
like difficult,
Yeah,
difficult
so
situation.
they still manage to help people, but it's kind of like you know.
And do you think with all that problems or for example, in the future you have problems not regarding that, but regarding family issues
Hmm.
or poverty or whatever? Do you think your religion or your community um, go and support you?
I feel like they definitely will because it's a very close community, and then since kind of us as Latinos, or I don't know, everybody uses the church. I feel like kind of like to run the boys if you're in trouble or if you have poverty, because the church I go to now, and even in Mexico, they do this thing where they have like a day to just give out food to those who need it. So I feel like they actually will help me if I'm in like kind of any trouble or if I need kind of any money. So yeah, I feel like they do help me.
All right. And moving to that, so what do you think will happen to the non-believers of your religion after that, or not after that?
Well, that's kind of like difficult, but it's not like I believe they will be in hell. I just believe nothing will happen to them. They're not going to get God's blessing and then go up in heaven and rest in peace. So I just feel like they will stay the same.
All right, so moving to that, so I want to add something to this. I believe that religion is very important for everybody. It should not depends because what kind of religion you have, because many of us have like probably um Islam religion, Muslim, Buddhism. So that's a lot of our religions that it's around in the world, and I believe as a family Catholic, it's very
Mm-hmm.
important to us, as you mentioned before, and we have to fight and believe for that. And the most important thing is to respect every religion of every single person, because in order to they respect our religion, we have to respect them, right?
Yeah.
All right. Do you want to add something?
I mean, I feel like you are right because every time I feel like I haven't done that, but I feel like if I go to another house and they believe in something differently, it's not like I will say, hey, don't do that, you know? I will just stay out. If they're praying, then let them pray in peace because I know how important beliefs are and how you were raised because it has to depend on how you were raised and what you believe in. So even if I don't know if I never seen people from um, India or things like that, but I know that they have their different beliefs, and I've seen them pray. I've seen them pray, but you know we just stay quiet. I just stay quiet and let them pray and adore their God. So
Okay. All right. So moving from another topic, I want to talk about traditions, or probably holidays that probably you have, like for example Cinco de Mayo, which is right here in US. Is the US citizen believe that Cinco de Mayo is the biggest prayer of Mexico, which is I believe, which is it's not. It's is independence of Mexico. So do you want to talk to talk about more of that, like Cinco de Mayo and independence.
Yeah, there's a controversy in that a lot of Americans still confused or like USA citizens because well we actually it's so funny because here in America when you get to Cinco de Mayo you see all these people going crazy and buying tequila and going out to doing barbecues and things like that. But you actually wait if you have gone to a Mexican house, you really don't see people doing anything in here because they always work. It's not our independence. That's the thing. It's not our independence. It's just one word that we won, but it's not our independence. So that's funny to say because people think it is, so they celebrate it. So it's good because they like our traditions and our culture. But I feel like in here in USA, we kind of don't celebrate it because of that. We work hard, so we're always working, moving around. But in Mexico, they actually do celebrate it. So they do go out and then celebrate, but just like little, cause we do go out actually for independence. For that year, we get the horses out and things like that.
All right. Do you want to talk more about it? Like, how do you guys celebrate the independence of Mexico?
Well, for the independence, which is the 16th, right, of
Yeah.
September.
Yep.
Uh, well, I've have celebrated in Mexico, but I was really a kid. I was like really young, so I really don't remember much. But now that I've celebrated here in USA, um, we always go to Philly, which is Philadelphia, the center of Philly, and we just they have a banda, which is like a group that sings and plays and all those things. I don't know, you guys have here some at least some music, and then we just stay there. I feel like for hours.
Mhm.
So we stay there for like maybe 5 hours or 4 hours, and then just dancing. And people wear their traditional clothes, which is like with flowers and big earrings, very colorful. And then people, even little kids, also wear that. We buy food. People sell tacos. People sell tostadas. Every type of traditional Mexican food you can think about it, they sell it there. And it's just not Mexicans, because I also seen a lot of Americans and other cultures come in to Philly and then also join the party. So that's really nice to do. And then people also dance. They have this folkloric dance. So people dance and then they kind of make a show. And then there's things for little kids. They also sell some shirts, guaraches. That's sandals, by the way. And at the end of the day, which is almost getting close to the night, not at 12, but kind of around that time, you see and you start to hear the fireworks. That's when actually that we say and we celebrate that we are the independence of Mexico. That's the independence of Mexico. Well, in here, we celebrate it that way with fireworks and dancing and celebrating, and we had a huge parade in the center of Philly. So that's kind of what we celebrate in here. In Mexico, it's kind of a little different because you kind of go out really more into the city and then into the city of Mexico, which is the center. The center in Mexico, they go out all out because we have this big flag, and then the horses come out, and then even the president comes out and he gives his speech. We sing our anthem for the flag, and people are all happy, and not just in the center of Mexico, which is the capital, but also in every country. I feel like that happens too, because even we're from Puebla, but another other countries like Sinaloa, Mazatlan, things like that, they do it too. So I feel like that day, the whole country of Mexico is in celebration. So that's cool to have. That's cool to look to.
Very interesting about it. And adding to that, I think Mexico is the biggest crazy people, I would say, because not because we are crazy now, it's because we celebrate a lot and we do things to go crazy, big, for example, big parties and all, makeup on it, like the colors of the flag, and that's pretty happy and amazing to hear. So I also want to ask you about how Christmas you celebrate? There's any specific beliefs? For example, in US they have Santa Claus, but how about in your country?
Well, in Mexico, we don't believe in Papa Noel or Santa Claus. We don't believe in that because I feel like for us, Santa Claus is nothing. It has nothing to do with our religion. So for us, our belief, since we're Catholic and we're from Mexico, we believe in Los Tres Reyes. So the three kings. That's what we believe in. Those three kings bring in, I don't remember, I think it was gold, something like that. They bring it to Jesus Christ when he was a baby. And then that means that for us in the night, we have to write a letter asking them what we like as a kid, or like saying, "Oh, I was a good kid, and then I didn't say any bad words," which we know we were kind of lying sometimes there, but you asked for what you wanted, and then asked that you were very good to your parents, so you kind of like fold your card, and then you have to put obviously your three up. You have to put your letter on your shoe. That was the rule. They have to have at least one shoe so they know it was yours, your card. You have to put your shoe in there and you have to put your card in there. And then you just have to go to sleep because if you wake up, then Jesus is going to see you, but which is not good. And then the other day you wake up and then that's kind of basically your Santa Claus. But that takes place around February, I think the 6th or the 7th. And I know that Santa Claus here in USA, it takes place on actually day of Christmas, which is the 25th. And for us, we just have Christmas Eve, which is the 24th. We go to church, we gather together, we eat, and then almost around 12, we say Merry Christmas, or yeah, that's what we say. And really nothing special happens that days. Otherwise, on the 24th, if you have your Jesus, you kind of sing songs to it, you pray, people come in together. But it all depends if you have one. Because if you don't have one, then you actually don't do anything. Because I feel like this rule in Mexico they do is that you can't buy one. Somebody has to give it to you. Somebody has to offer it to you. In that way, you can take it and do all those prayers and things like that. So it's really cool. It's really interesting. There's a lot of different things that we do differently in when it's Christmas time.
They call the posadas, right?
Yeah, that's what I was talking to this way. When you have your baby Jesus, that's when you do the posadas.
The
Because if you
posadas.
don't have one, then there's no point of doing one because there's not people coming in. Like the story of the Holy Bible that when Jesus came in and they asked for refuge and things like that. That's called a posada. But since you don't have one, then really you don't do one. But you can go to one if you're invited to. They sing like half of the people stay out in the door and half of the people stay inside the house, and they have these little candles and then things like that, like kind of like little fireworks. And you start singing, and then until that sing is finished, then people can come in, and then they have the baby, the Jesus baby, and then they start singing until we believe until he falls asleep.
It's like
And we have this kind of like big altar where you put it in, you pray, and after all that it's happened, then you can move into the food. Then that's where it takes place. But actually in Mexico, there's huge altars, like I feel like bigger than this couch, because all the family gathers in together, and all those baby Jesus come into the altar. So like the whole family's baby Jesus is there, not just yours.
well, that's very very interesting and very happy to hear about it. They also have the which is called Rosca de Reyes.
Oh, okay. So it's kind of like a bread that we have in Mexico, where you have this rosca. It's kind of like a bread, but it's kind of like a big donut. You know, it's a big donut where it has three babies, meaning or you can have more. It all depends how big it is, how small it is, and then that's cut during the day that the kings bring our gift to the little kids. So after the kids open the gifts and everything, then you buy that big cake or the big donut, and then you put it on the table.
Mhm.
And then every member of the family has to cut it. But we always go from the youngest to the oldest, or from the oldest to the youngest. There's no, oh, you go first, things like that. That's kind of like our rule. And then you cut it, right? And if you find a little baby Jesus inside the piece of bread that you cut, then we have this thing of saying, oh, then you have to bring the tamales, or you have to bring any type of food, but in order we always say you have to bring the tamales because it's fairly January, so it's kind of cold too.
Mhm.
And then if you don't get one, then you're safe. So it's kind of like fun. It's kind of like a game that people enjoy too. And then I feel like that's another part of us that bring us in more together even more, because we kind of always doing these things that we are always bringing in together the family. So yeah, that is good too. That's really nice though.
Well, all right. So it's very interesting to hear all your traditions, your beliefs. How do you think other people are going to help you, or how do you celebrate all these biggest holidays or festivals? And the most important thing that I hear is that your symbol, it's the Virgin of Guadalupe, that you have it right there, and it's very respectfully, and I know that you feel happy about your religion, and
Yeah.
then you feel comfortable about it, and I can see that you can talk very freely about your religion, because many people do not do it, uh, not because how people think, it's just because they have problems with their religion, of
Yeah.
some consequences,
Mhm.
or things that they don't want to go and
Mhm.
and talk about it. So, there is anything that you want to add?
No, actually, no. I just feel like, I mean, I'm very open, and I'm very blessed to believe in this religion, because I know some people do get in trouble for thinking or talking about certain topics. But any otherwise, I feel like everything. I like my religion, so I'm very proud of it, and I feel like my future kids will also believe in. That's what I believe.
All right. So, to close this interview, I will say thank you for
Mhm.
come and join me and tell me a lot about your religion, and I really appreciate your time and your kindness
Mhm.
to discuss with me. So, thank you so much for coming today.
Yeah.